So starting from the very top, we've got a dashboard, and obviously a dashboard is there to show you as much information as possible in as concise a fashion as possible. So what we've got here is in the very left-hand corner, top left, you're looking at manufacturing jobs, how many manufacturing jobs are currently running, and then the blue one here is a science job. Now obviously this is all dynamic, this all updates depending on what is happening further down the line in the manufacturing databases and the science databases and the warehousing databases. So what you can see here is what frigates I'm not building at the moment, or what frigates I'm not selling, sorry, and thus what do I need to build. This is what BPCs I'm running low on. As you can see in the destroyer column, I am selling everything. There is nothing that I need to build and nothing that I need to research. In the cruisers, there is nothing that I need to research in that I have BPCs for all the cruisers ready to go. But clearly here, there is a lot of cruisers that I could be building, or things that I'm not in the market on. And further on down the line, I'll leave it there for now. Moving on, back to the architecture here. In the next section, let's just go around the corner. Tools, there's a list of things here that help me work out job pricing and this kind of stuff. I haven't used this decryptor comparison in a while, but that's very easy so that I can go to the game and put in. Actually, let's very quickly show you what it is. Excuse my comet here in potato mode. My graphics card has been playing up. Now, so if I wanted to compare, right? If I wanted to compare prices when it comes to making a buzzard, right? Or science costs when it comes to making a buzzard. I'll go to the invention tab here, and let's put it in for accelerant decryptors. I'm going to copy that material information. I'm going to go there and paste. Let's do it for. And I also need to update this on the side here. Runs 2, runs for BPP, 449.2. So that must have been already the case. Let's move on to attainment decryptors. I'm going to copy that information, paste that there. I'm going to get 5, 5, and there's going to be a 73% chance of success. And let's do one more. Let's do augmentation decryptors because they're kind of wacky. 5, 10, very low chance with these ones, 24%. And there we go. So odds say, now the averages say, depending on overall success chances, that augmentation decryptors will be the cheapest BPCs that I can get here. Noting, of course, that this is not accounting for material efficiency further down the line. Now you can see how close all these numbers are. So really, I don't stress too much about it. I really don't stress too much about it. Ultimately, it comes down to how many runs do I think I want to do. If I want to be doing runs of 10 frigates at a time, then I'll probably go augmentation. If I'm thinking that I'm just going to do one marauder or one cruiser, then I could plan for that and just BPC accordingly. Now let's go back to the architecture here. Let's go now to the current market orders. This is just a list of what I'm selling at the moment. Now I use ESI. I use the Eve Swagger interface on another worksheet that I will not show you right now, that queries the API and pulls my current market orders, and then I have this database which pulls from the query. So let's go back. This is just obviously so that I can check in I can take this information straight back and pull into my database to know what I'm selling, and thus what do I need to be building, right? Simple. We go to the architecture here. Let's go to the science job log. Let's actually go to the ship science first. Now this is where I can input new jobs. Let's say April. Let's say we wanted to actually make those buzzards, right? Frigate Tech 2 buzzard, and we decided that we wanted to do 5 runs with the augmentation decryptor, and then the job cost was 30,009, clearly. 5 runs, and the job runs were going to be 10. Now that's saying that it's planned, and we could go start that job. If I went click, then we'd start that job, and once that job had finished, let's say that it's down here, it says deliver, and it says, okay, you actually got successful on one of those jobs, which is pretty standard for augmentations, right? And here we can see the kind of final entry that we need. The cost per run of all those BPCs that we just got is 802,000 ISK. So when it comes later to factor in the BPC cost of manufacture, I can say, okay, well, each one of these buzzards that I'm making, it's going to be 802,000 for the BP, however much for the components, however much for freight, however much for the Tech 1 part, right? Now, got some conditional formatting there that says, okay, these are not values. You need to confirm them. You need to change them back to values. So I would do that, and I would say copy here as values to say, hey, those values are now locked in. That's not going to change. If the cost of decryptors changes, this final result is not going to change, because that was the cost of the decryptor when I actually started the job. Now, once I've got that there, I would say copy that information and put it into the science ID database, right? So I would say, oh, SI 134 goes there, and now I've got that entry there that for all of time. Now, I'm not going to do that because this is not a job that actually happened, right? I will come back later, change those cells back to formulas. I'm going to just delete this information. I'll be right with you. Okay, right? And I got some cool little conditional formatting there that kind of guides the eye along with the process. Now, let's go back to the architecture here. So you saw both there. You saw this ship science job where I create the job and track the job. And then you also see the job log where I put the final information, right? What feeds that ship science database? Actually, I'll unhide some stuff here for you to just show you what is going on. What feeds that information there is a lot of formulas that are like, okay, so if you're making a hawk, that means that it's going to be these are the 2 data cores that will make up that job. It's going to be Caldari Starship and Mechanical Engineering data cores, and then it pulls the average cost of how many go into that. So you'll be looking here, this is just a list of all the data cores and everything, and where I'm at, what I need to purchase. So if any of these stocks were low, they would show up over here, and I could very quickly go boom, copy, and import into the buy all function in the Eve client. So very quickly you're able to come up with a shopping list there. There's also stock taking features that I'm not going to get into, so that in a year I don't want to have 3,000 entries over this site. I don't want to have to scroll through a whole bunch of stuff. So I can do monthly stock takes, which kind of update the average price of everything. And that's a universal process that I've got on Crips and Cores, on BPCs, and on componentry, and of course, advanced moon materials. Let's go right back to the architecture. The ship manufacturer. This is a big fella. Now I will just show you this one because it can be quite overwhelming, I guess. Let's have a look. So we've got, this is showing what is currently in production and kind of where each one of my jobs is up to. So I'm going to be building a rook here. I've got the BP cost ready. I've got the manufacturing job cost ready. I've got the parts that go into it in terms of the Tech 1. Didn't need to buy anything from Jita. Now, what I'm waiting on here is the pre-made component. So, in other words, the parts that I have made on my other character. Now, I'll very quickly show you. So, okay, you see we're waiting on Caldari parts. And we're waiting on Amar parts. This is another thing that we will show you much later, right? Okay. So once I withdraw those components, I will get an average price. I will get an exact price actually of how much that withdrawal costs, like how much goes into a rook, and then I'll light it up. Anyway, so I've also got a freight column there. Now it looks like what I'm waiting on. This is not withdrawn. A little bit of formatting there. Okay, it's because I'm waiting on the pre-made stuff, right? This is in the same boat. Also, I have not received it in my factory because I haven't actually got the components here, and I'm also waiting on the Tech 1 part of the sacrilege, which is a mauler, right? Which is these maulers here. I'm going to be making them myself because it was too expensive to buy on the market, right? Now you can see what else is ready to go here. The kestrels, the maulers, the omens, the maulers, and the maulers, they're all ready to go. Now, as a quick little example, how I would do that, it would be popping over here, and I would go to, let's have a look, what are we building today? We've got a kestrel. We're doing 30 kestrels. I don't know why, but we are. Kestrel, bada boom. Now these materials have all been shipped. They should be ready to go. And of course, Eve client is very slow for me. Minerals, it's going to input from minerals, output into miscellaneous. I'm going to do 30. So it goes like this. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, we're doing 30. Got 30. We start that job. It's going to be done in one day. Now that I've started that job, I just do a little 1 in there. All right? And that says to me, okay, that job is on the way. I could do the same for the mauler, the omens, the maulers, and the maulers, right? I've still got another 6 jobs left. I like to do a little visual check here just to be sure. So I've got 5 out of 11 manufacturing jobs currently running, and then I'll quickly run over to my overview here, and 5 out of 11. Okay, so everything's all right. Moving on. Potato comet. I'm going to quickly pop over to the architecture here. The manufacturing job log ID, similar idea that when a job is finished, right? When this is finished, it kind of presents itself out on the side, says turn me into values. Once it's into values, then log me into the final place, which is this one, right? This is every job that I've ever made. And note that every job also gets an SI, ship invention number. Every ship manufacturing job gets an S something, right? Because it's ship something. So further down the line, the reasoning here was when I scaled into drones or scaled into modules, it would be M225 or D200, whatever, so that I could still keep track of which characters were doing which parts of the manufacturing process. Now, if you go over back, so that's logging everything, and then we go back to the ship database here. Okay, so the ship database is where I keep the guts of it, right? Ship database is really important. It's essentially the dashboard, but much more complex. It's actually the dashboard that relies on the ship database here. Now, let's have a look. We actually just started those kestrels. So you have your type ID, kestrel 602, Calari, frigate, obviously, a whole bunch of information that pertains to that item. Conch list, don't worry about this. This is beyond explaining right now. We have how many have I ever manufactured? I've manufactured 143 kestrels. BPO because it's Tech 1, I don't need to worry about that. Runs in warehouse, I don't need to worry about that because it's Tech 1. I don't need to have any BPCs ready to go. Now, if you look here, what are we building? It's already seen that we're building 30 right now, so it's got a little 30 there, which means that if I was to go back to the overview here, I could see. Let's go to Tech 1. Let's go to update that one, and you can see there that the kestrel is no longer there, right? Because we are building it. It doesn't need to be built, right? So you're not going to have double ups in your overview. Now let's not get too off track. We were at the ship database. Now you can also see for Tech 2 things here. You have, let's have a look. We've got the Vengeance. I've manufactured 12 Vengeances in my time. I have made 28 BPCs, right? I have 16 BPCs ready to go in the warehouse. When that number falls below my desired, which is 5, then I need to research more. How many am I currently selling? 1. And thus I don't need to build anymore, right? This can be a bit overwhelming again. So I'm just going to give you a little peek. This is a bit of extra stuff out the side, which feeds the pivot, right? Which feeds the dashboard. I'm not going to get into that because that can be scary. But trust me, you do not need that level of complexity when it comes to a dashboard. I've since worked out other ways to do it, but not really important when this does exactly the job I need it to do. So we'll go back to Tech 2 there and let it do its thing. All right. I think that has shown you kind of the basics of the operation. Now we're moving forward. I would love to hear which parts you want me to explore next. Of course, down the line we can get into this fella, which is the component element of the operation. Crazy cool dashboard here. What to build, what am I withdrawing, what am I building right now, what is current stock levels. You can also do cool stuff like this. I can say, well, I just want to see the Mimitar, and what if I just want to build, and that's just the component side of things. And then you come down the bottom here and you're like, oh, cool. Well, what kind of stock levels? Let's order enough to fill 60% of the desired amount. And then I would need to order 303,000 crystalline carbonite. And of course, this is where it becomes a multiplier having this kind of system, because rather than stressing about, do I need to buy this much or that much, it's all right there. I can see visually these little white parts here are telling me what of these will be going into jobs that I have planned. I mean, we can talk about this in future. This is the component thing. So as you can see, the job numbers for componentry are the C. But still, again, it has its little log here, and I can keep track of all that kind of stuff. And this is where I keep track of withdrawals. A lot to show you in terms of how I keep track of withdrawing things from the database. I'd love to share this with you guys, hopefully inspire you to get out and get manufacturing and not leave it to the big corps. Thank you so much for getting this far. Mooper Corp out.